Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and we are reading the Bible cover to cover. We are on day 30. Wow. And today we're going to be reading out of Genesis 31, but only verses 1 through 21 today. And then we're going to hop over to Job 2, and then we'll read Luke 14, verses 15 through 34. And then we're going to close out the day with Psalm 22, verses 22 through 31. I am so happy you're here today, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's get started in Genesis 31. This is going to be a short Genesis today. Jacob heard Laban's son's words, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's. He's obtained all this wealth from that which was our father's. Jacob saw the expression on Laban's face, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Yahweh said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock, and said to them, I see the expression on your father's face, that it is not towards me as before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength. Your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God didn't allow him to hurt me. If he said, The speckled will be your wages, then all the flock bore speckled. If he said, The streaked will be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. Thus God has taken away from your father's livestock and given them to me. During mating season I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the male goats which leaped on the flock were streaked, speckled, and grizzled. The angel of God said to me in a dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Now lift up your eyes, and behold, all the male goats which leap on the flock are streaked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban does to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, where you vowed a vow to me. Now arise, get out from this land, and return to the land of your birth. Rachel and Leah answered him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Aren't we considered as foreigners by him? For he has sold us, and has also used up our money. For all the riches which God has taken away from our father are ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives on the camels, and he took away all the livestock and all his possessions which he had gathered, including the livestock which he had gained in Padan Aram, to go to Isaac his father to the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole the teraphim that were her father's. Jacob deceived Laban the Syrian, in that he didn't tell him that he was running away. So he fled with all that he had. He rose up, passed over the river, and set his face toward the mountain of Gilead. Yeah. So maybe one thing that we can draw off from that short portion in Genesis is that we can do all we can to play fair. We can make our deals, we can make our bargains, we can keep our end of the bargain. And when people are not keeping their side of the bargain, we have two choices. We can either have a bad attitude about it, and we can retaliate. We can retaliate in, I'm having trouble finding the word, revenge. We can retaliate in revenge, or we can stay tethered to God. We can stay tethered to Jesus and what He's told us to do, to trust in Him, to listen for Him, to stay in relationship with Him. And He's going to set it all right. So, Job chapter 2. Sometimes I just got to get these things off my chest. All right. Poor Job. Again, on the day when God's Son came to present themselves before Yahweh, Satan came also among them to present himself before Yahweh. Yahweh said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" Satan answered Yahweh and said, "From going back and forth in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." Yahweh said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? For there is no one like him in the earth, a blameless and an upright man, one who fears God and turns away from evil. He still maintains his integrity, although you incited me against him to ruin him without cause." Satan answered Yahweh and said, "Skin for skin. Yes, all that a man has, he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will renounce you to your face." Yahweh said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand, only spare his life." So Satan went out from the presence of Yahweh and struck Job with painful sores from the sole of his foot to his head. He took for himself a potsherd to scrape himself with, and he sat among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, "Do you still maintain your integrity? Renounce God and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil?" In all this, Job didn't sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that had come on him, they each came from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. And they made an appointment together to come to sympathize with him and to comfort him. When they lifted up their eyes from a distance and didn't recognize him, they raised their voices and wept, and they each tore his robe and sprinkled dust on their heads towards the sky. So they sat down with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his grief was very great. So after Job loses all his possessions, his children, his servants, now he's struck personally with his body in pain and suffering. And he still is tethered to God. That is a perfect example. So Luke chapter 14, 15 through 34. When one of those who sat at the table with him heard these things, he said to him, "Blessed is he who will feast in God's kingdom." But Jesus said to him, "A certain man made a great supper, and he invited many people. He sent out his servant at supper time to tell those who were invited, 'Come, for everything is ready now.' They all, as one, began to make excuses. The first said to him, 'I have bought a field, and I must go and see it. Please have me excused.' Another said, 'I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I must go try them out. Please have me excused." Another said, "I have married a wife, and therefore I can't come." That servant came and told his lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, "Go out quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring in the poor, maimed, blind, and lame." The servant said, "Lord, it is done as you commanded, and there is still room." The Lord said to the servant, "Go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I tell you that none of those men who were invited will taste my supper." Now great multitudes were going with him. He turned and said to them, "If anyone comes to me and doesn't disregard his own father, mother, wife, children, brothers, and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he can't be my disciple. Whoever doesn't bear his own cross and come after me can't be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, doesn't first sit down and count the cost to see if he has enough to complete it? Or perhaps when he has laid a foundation and isn't able to finish, everyone who sees begins to mock him, saying, 'This man began to build and wasn't able to finish.' Or what king, as he goes to encounter another king in a war, will not sit down first to consider whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends an envoy and asks for conditions of peace. So therefore, whoever of you who doesn't renounce all that he has, he can't be my disciple. Salt is good, but if the salt becomes flat and tasteless, with what do you season it? It is fit neither for the soil nor for the manure pile. It is thrown out. He who has ears to hear, let him hear." So I'm going to let you just simmer on that. Okay, Psalm 22, verses 22 through 31. I will declare your name to my brothers. Among the assembly I will praise you. You who fear Yahweh, praise him. All you descendants of Jacob, glorify him. Stand in awe of him, all you descendants of Israel. For he has not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, neither has he hidden his face from him. But when he cried out to him, he heard. My praise of you comes in the great assembly. I will pay my vows before those who fear him. The humble shall eat and be satisfied. They shall praise Yahweh who seek after him. Let your hearts live forever. All the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to Yahweh. All the relatives of the nations shall worship before you, for the kingdom is Yahweh's. He is the ruler over the nations. All the rich ones of the earth shall eat and worship. All those who go down to the dust shall bow down before him, even he who can't keep his soul alive. Posterity shall serve him. Future generations shall be told about the Lord. They shall come and shall declare his righteousness to a people that shall be born, for he has done it. Oh, this was another good day. Oh, everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is just another reminder to always stay in relationship with the Lord, with every decision, with all your thoughts, keep your heart tethered to Him, and He'll show you the way. And I guarantee you will be most joyful in probably the worst circumstance. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.